Chapter 1, I, Carlos, a non-monogamous wet dream fantasy. From the Mango Men and Other Manifestations. Read by Buujee Savage. Being a child of Oshun means inheriting a lot of the gifts that she has, and on the plus side, this also includes the love life. But really, I don't think there are any cons. What they don't tell you is that sometimes people can't contain themselves when they're in close proximity, when you're embodying her energy. And honestly, sometimes I can't control myself either. When you start to look back at all of her stories and how magnetic she was and still is, it makes you wonder how she even went outside. But some stories also mention that she didn't, so I totally get it. I had just moved out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and made my way to Houston, Texas. I wasn't sure how long I'd be there, but the ancestors had guided me. I was staying in this gorgeous skyrise hotel where I could watch the sunset from my window and see all the people walking below. It constantly reminded me of the one person I tried to confess my love to, and it fucking blew up in my face. Never again, manifesting only from here on out. I didn't really want to be here. But maybe it was time to start some new memories. At least I had my 2 huskies with me this time. I wasn't going to be in Houston long anyways, just a few weeks before I had to hit the road for a TV show appearance. But while I was here, I wanted to make the best of it. The weather was nice, but outside there was a lot of people stuck on fentanyl. The streets reeked of sadness and loss, but I still walked my dogs and secretly hoped to see a cute stranger passing by every once in a while. That night, I decided to go out with a friend to a park I felt deeply drawn to. For some reason, every time I got in the car, I'd end up at that park, even when I wasn't trying. The GPS would all of a sudden start to mess up, and somehow I'd land there again. The ancestors weren't letting me miss it. It was a beautiful day, not too hot. There were food trucks out, shaved ice, Latin American food, fresh juices. I grabbed some food and started down the trail. What did I really have to lose anyways? For the past week, I'd been hearing Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye everywhere I went. I couldn't pinpoint which ancestor was doing it, but I'd hear them laughing off in the distance like they were planning something. As I climbed some stairs and made my way into the grass, I saw a giant "Marry Me" sign being set up by an attractive man. He was preparing for a proposal, but the wind kept knocking over the letters. Still, he kept picking them back up, and it was adorable. Further down, I noticed an amphitheater. As a musician, I naturally had to go sit in the middle of the stage. Maybe a little self-centered, but I was feeling myself that day. And I wanted a good view of whatever I was meant to see. I sat there, eating my food, and then all of a sudden I started to feel a strong pull in my belly. Something was coming. I kept hearing Aztec, Aztec, Aztec echo in my head. I'd seen a lot of signs lately that said Aztec, but I couldn't place the energy. Then I looked to the side of the park and saw them. 2 people walking barefoot on the grass. 1 male, 1 female. Both extremely attractive. They looked like they stepped out of a storybook. They moved slowly, intentionally, as if they were connecting with the earth with every step. Both had jet black, long hair. They didn't talk much, mostly silence. But their energy was strong, familiar even. I just sat and watched. I couldn't help myself. Then the woman suddenly looked over at me. She sensed my energy. She walked straight up to the stage and introduced herself. She sat right between me and my friend, extra close. She had a soft voice. She started talking about how her ancestors had guided her to Houston too. We began comparing tattoos. So many of them were identical, even the bracelets we wore. She told me she was learning her native language, the one from before colonization. Her people were Aztec. She smiled and looked over at her friend, still standing in the grass. Then she looked at me again. I could feel her reading my thoughts. I was staring at him, thinking how delicious he might taste. She smirked. "Oh, that's my friend Carlos," she said. She could definitely hear me. Then she called to him in Spanish. He slowly walked over. He didn't say much, just sat near the edge of the stage and smiled. She asked him to take a photo of us all sitting cross-legged like we'd done it before. It was eerie and familiar. Then she looked at him and said, "Carlos, sit next to Z." I was like, what the fuck is happening in my head? She was reading everything I was thinking without me saying it. Was he the one tied to the sexual healing song? His energy was so strong, but slightly hidden, or I might just be too traumatized to read it right now. He introduced himself, Carlos, and we started talking. He didn't speak much English, so she translated every once in a while. Turns out he was also a musician, a drummer. I spoke a little Spanish, enough to make him laugh. She definitely wanted to put us together and kept my friend busy so we'd have privacy. Eventually, Carlos asked for my number, and I gave it to him. As we left, I took a different path. I could hear drumming in the distance. I looked over and they were playing music as we walked, smiling without saying much. Later that night, I took a shower and had intense visions, places in Latin America I had never been before. I cleansed my body and my energy just in case, and then went to bed. This time I slept all the way through until the rising, except this time I woke up all of a sudden, feeling hands all over my body, warm, intimate hands, grabbing onto me in so many different places, more than one set. Hair was brushing my skin. I had salt on my lips. I could hear sounds. It felt so real as I gripped the sheets. And I realized it was them, Carlos and his friend in my dream. Their spirits were so strong. I didn't want to wake up. I just wanted to experience that moment. The minute I got up, I had a text from Carlos. He asked to see me. Before he came over, I couldn't help but be honest. I messaged him. "This might sound really weird, but are you and your friend having a threesome by chance? Or does someone want to? I'm kind of a straight shooter." Carlos laughed and said, "Wow, you must be some kind of a bruja. I was just talking with her about that." He told me neither of them believed in monogamy. They flowed with love, let it take whatever form it needed to. No traditional relationships, just connection, presence, and pleasure. The next day he came over. Our languages were rough, but we agreed to teach each other. I wore a cute little strap dress. While I was talking, one strap slipped off my shoulder, and as I reached to pull it up, he stopped me, gently. Then he looked at me intensely. We started to undress each other. When we moved to the bed, he paused and walked to the mirror closet. He adjusted the sliding doors so we could see ourselves. Was I about to have sex with myself watching? A little nerve-wracking, but also maybe this was another mirror moment. He was gentle but firm and absolutely knew what he was doing. Passionate, skilled, spiritual. He was a triple threat. Hours passed, we made love, talked, laughed, ate fruits, grapes, watermelon, mangoes. We fed them to each other. He whispered in Spanish. He held my face. We kissed on sidewalks when we decided to take breaks. walked through all of the street art, and acted like we'd known each other for lifetimes, holding hands. At some point, he told me he wanted to be a professional porn star. I laughed. That explains all the moves and mere theatrics. I even gave him a contact in Southern California. We laid in bed for hours, staring at the moon. I started to drift to sleep, and then I heard him humming a song. Sexual healing. He said, "Have you heard it before?" You gotta be kidding me. I smiled and just said yes. Eventually he left. We didn't talk much after that. Things faded. And long story short, I ended up blocking him on my socials for reasons we'll get into another day. But that night, that connection, it was sexual. And it was healing. No one tells you this part about your spiritual gifts. You can manifest anything, even someone for one night of deep sensual soul healing. And sometimes your ancestors are absolutely in on it. Carlos, that man was hell of a manifestation. And let me tell you, te di el alma, Carlos. I'm sure the whole hotel heard me. But hey, when in Rome. Okay, now that you've heard the story, was it real or just one of my mango-scented fantasies? Come play fact or fiction with me this weekend on ZTV. We'll be going live to reveal the juicy truths and steamy lies behind every chapter. Vote with dots, spill your own tea, and don't be shy. Retrograde's bringing all the exes back anyways, so I'll see you there. And don't forget to subscribe.